My name's Chloe, and I really need to tell you this story, because honestly, I'm still trying to figure out if I was the clueless one in this whole mess. It all started so innocently, like any other Friday night. My best friend, Jenna, called. "Chloe," her voice chirped through the phone. "Dinner at my place tomorrow night? The whole gang. It's been too long." Jenna and we have this little tradition. Whenever one of us hosts dinner, the other brings a dish. Sometimes it's a salad, sometimes an appetizer, or, like this time, dessert. "Sounds great," I replied Volker immediately. "I'll bring dessert, okay? I've been itching to bake." A short pause. "Oh, that'd be perfect," Jenna said, her voice a little hesitant. "But hey, Chloe." I waited. "Lily, you know my little one. She's decided to go dairy-free. So, if you're baking, could you please make sure it's dairy-free?" "Dairy-free?" I mulled it over. "No problem at all, Jenna. I have this amazing passion fruit cake recipe. Absolutely no dairy in sight." And I did. I had this passion fruit cake recipe I was incredibly proud of. It was light, it was airy, it smelled like a tropical dream, and most importantly, it used no butter or milk. None whatsoever. I'd made it dozens of times for lactose-intolerant friends, and it was always a massive hit. "Oh, that sounds delicious," Jenna exclaimed. "Lily will absolutely love it. Thanks so much, Chloe." We hung up, and I felt that little spark of joy. I love making my friends happy with food. It's my love language, you know? The next morning, I spent the entire time in my kitchen, the air filled with the scent of flour, sugar, and then the intoxicating, tangy aroma of passion fruit. I meticulously separated egg yolks from whites, whipping the whites with a pinch of cream of tartar until they formed glossy, soft peaks. In another bowl, I combined the yolks with sugar, a good quality vegetable oil, and of course, fresh passion fruit pulp I'd just scooped. I gently sifted in the flour and baking powder, then folded, that wonderfully delicate word, the whipped egg whites into the batter. I loved watching the mixture come together, smooth and golden. No milk, no butter, not a smidgen of cheese. I even double-checked the oil bottle, 100% plant-based. This, I thought to myself, is the epitome of dairy-free. The cake baked in the oven, rising beautifully, turning a perfect golden brown. When I pulled it out, the kitchen practically glowed. The smell was irresistible. I let it cool completely on a wire rack before carefully transferring it to my prettiest cake carrier. I felt like an artist who just completed a masterpiece. That evening, I arrived at Jenna's CS. The atmosphere was warm and inviting. Her husband, Mark, was grilling in the backyard, the smoky aroma mingling with the cool evening air. Lily, her adorable 7-year-old with a cascade of blonde hair, ran out and threw her arms around me. "Auntie Chloe, did you bring cake for me?" she asked, her big eyes sparkling. "Of course I did, sweet pea," I laughed, handing the cake box to Jenna. "A special passion fruit cake, no dairy, just for you," Lily squealed with delight. We had a wonderful dinner. Stories, laughter, clinking wine glasses. Mark's grilled chicken was superb. Jenna's salad station fresh and crisp. Everything was perfect. Then came dessert time. Jenna brought out my cake, placing it ceremoniously in the center of the table. There were collective oohs and ahs. The cake looked stunning, golden and fluffy. I cut the first few slices. Lily, naturally, got hers first. She took a big bite. "This is so yummy, Auntie Chloe," Lily exclaimed, her mouth full. "It's so fluffy." My heart warmed. This was why I loved baking. Mark nodded in agreement. "Seriously, Chloe, this cake is amazing. Incredibly light." Jenna took a bite too, then looked at me, smiling. "This is delicious, Chloe. You really have a gift." What's your secret for making it so airy? Jenna asked, after nearly finishing her slice. This recipe must be something special. Oh, it's not too complicated, I began, still basking in the glow of their approval. Flour, sugar, oil instead of butter, fresh passion fruit pulp. I rattled off the ingredients step by step. Everyone listened intently, Lily happily munching on her second piece. And of course, I continued, my voice full of pride, the most important part for that airy, spongy texture is the eggs. You have to whip the egg whites really well. The moment the word eggs left my lips, I saw a shift. It was instantaneous. The smile lidorous froze on Lily's small face. Her eyes widened, darting from me to her mother. Her lower lip began to tremble. Then, without warning, she slammed her fork down on the table, burst into tears, and bolted upstairs. Her sobs echoed down, heart-wrenching. The table fell silent, a heavy, awkward silence. I was completely stunned. What just happened? Mark looked just as bewildered. Jenna sighed, a very weary sigh. She looked at me, her expression no longer joyful. "Chloe," she began, her voice flat. "Why did you put eggs in the cake?" I was floored, genuinely floored. "Eggs?" I stammered. "Well, eggs give it structure. They make it rise and get fluffy. I thought..." "But I said dairy-free," Jenna interrupted, her tone tinged with something like disappointment, or maybe accusation. I wasn't sure. "Yes, exactly," I affirmed. "This cake is completely dairy-free. There's no milk products, no cheese, no butter, no cream, nothing." I listed off all the things I knew for certain were dairy. Jenna shook her head, a slow, deliberate shake. "No, Chloe, eggs are dairy." My brain felt like it short-circuited. "Eggs are dairy?" I repeated, unable to believe my ears. I've never heard that before. I tried to rack my brain. All my culinary knowledge, everything I'd ever read about nutrition, dairy always meant milk and milk-derived products from mammals, cows, goats, sheep. To my understanding, I tried to explain as gently as possible. Dairy is milk and milk products. Eggs are... well, eggs. Jenna frowned. Dairy is anything that comes from an animal, Chloe. That statement confused me even more. From an animal? I asked, trying to follow her logic. So, is beef dairy or chicken? A flicker of annoyance crossed Jenna's face, but she kept her composure. No, meat is meat. Okay, now I was truly lost. So, what about honey then? I blurted out, a seemingly silly question, but I genuinely wanted to understand. Honey comes from bees, and bees are animals. Jenna looked a little exasperated. No, she said, her voice firm. Bees are insects. Insects. So, there was a distinction between animals in general and insects in Jenna's definition of dairy. My head was spinning. Where did this logic even come from? I glanced at Mark, hoping for some kind of ally, but he just shrugged. Don't look at me. I'm out. Expression on his face. The room fell silent again, except for Lily's soft sobs drifting down from upstairs. Guilt started to creep in, even though I still didn't understand what I'd done wrong. I'm so sorry, I mumbled. I honestly had no idea. I never would have thought eggs were considered dairy. My cheeks burned. The pride I'd felt in my perfect cake had vanished, replaced by embarrassment and a sense of failure. Jenna sighed again. It's okay. Let me go check on Lily. She got up and headed upstairs. I sat there, opposite Mark, in an almost unbearable silence. The cake is still really good. Mark tried to break the tension, but his voice sounded a bit strained too. I could only manage a weak smile. A few minutes later, Jenna came back down. Her face was still tight. "Lily's calmed down a bit," she announced. She was just really upset because she thought the cake was safe for her to eat. Hearing that, my heart sank even further. I hadn't meant to upset Lily. God, I adored that kid. "I'm truly sorry, Jenna," I repeated. "I had no intention. If I'd known your stance on eggs, I never would have used them." Jenna nodded. "I know you didn't mean to, Chloe, but..." She paused, as if choosing her words carefully. "Next time, maybe you should ask more specifically." I just nodded. Well, yes, that was true. The rest of the evening passed awkwardly. Forced conversations, smiles that didn't quite reach the eyes. The passion fruit cake sat there, mostly uneaten. A silent testament to this ridiculous misunderstanding. When I was leaving, Jenna walked me to the door. "Thanks for coming," she said, her voice a little distant. "Thanks for having me," I replied. "And again, I'm so sorry about the cake." Jenna just gave a slight nod. Driving home, that phrase, "eggs are dairy," kept replaying in my mind like a stuck record. Was I really that ignorant? Or was this some entirely new definition of dairy I hadn't been privy to? The first thing I did when I got home was make a beeline for my computer. I typed, "Is egg a dairy product?" into the Google search bar. A flood of results appeared. Reputable nutrition websites, food associations, medical articles, they all said the same thing. Number eggs are not dairy products. Dairy products are defined as foods produced from the milk of mammals. Eggs come from poultry, not mammals. They are classified in their own protein group, alongside meat, fish, and poultry. Some people allergic to milk might also be allergic to eggs, but those are two separate allergies. Vegetarians often eat eggs and dairy. Vegans, on the other hand, avoid all animal products, including eggs and dairy. I read and reread. So, I wasn't wrong. At least, not according to the universally accepted definition. So why was Jenna so insistent? And that bees are insects logic for honey not being dairy, while chickens are animals, so eggs are dairy, it genuinely boggled my mind. Could it be that Lily was allergic to eggs, and Jenna had inaccurately used the term dairy-free to describe her daughter's needs? If so, why hadn't she just said, "No eggs, no dairy"? It would have been so much simpler. I sat there, staring at the computer screen, the confusion still swirling. Part of me felt relieved that I wasn't as clueless as I'd started to think, but another part felt frustrated. Frustrated by the miscommunication. Frustrated that Jenna still seemed upset with me, even though the fault wasn't entirely mine. I had apologized. I was genuinely remorseful for upsetting Lily, but I still felt a sense of injustice. I'd put effort, love, into that cake, believing I was doing something good, only to be met with awkwardness and a seemingly strained friendship. I wondered if Jenna would ever realize her mistake, or would she continue to live by her very unique definition of dairy? And if I was ever asked to make something special again, would I have to go through a long list of clarifying questions? You mean no cow's milk? No goat's milk? No cheese? No butter? No yogurt? What about eggs? Is honey okay? How about gelatin from animal bones? It sounded a bit extreme, but after this, I thought I needed to be more careful. That night, I had trouble sleeping. The image of Lily's disappointed face kept replaying in my mind. Jenna's sighs, and that insistent phrase, "Eggs are dairy." Was I the asshole? I'd made a dairy-free cake with eggs, just as I understood it. But maybe, in Jenna's world, I'd brought an egg bomb to a child who was told to avoid dairy. I think, perhaps, we both shared some of the blame. My fault for not asking for more clarification, even if the request seemed straightforward. Jenna's fault for not communicating her daughter's dietary needs accurately and clearly. Or maybe this was just one of those absurd misunderstandings life occasionally throws our way to test friendships and patience. I hoped Jenna would come to understand, and I hoped Lily would soon forget about the traitor cake. As for me, the next time someone asks me to make something dairy-free, the very first question out of my mouth will be, "Okay, no milk, no butter, no cheese. So, what about eggs, my friend? Do eggs count?" You bet they will, just so I never have to endure another evening as awkward as this one, and to ensure that my labor of love cakes actually bring joy, not tears. It was a lesson learned the hard way. About eggs, about dairy, and about the critical importance of clear communication. Especially when a 7-year-old girl and her favorite passion fruit cake are involved.